against diabetes will. Another day, here we go. Today, I want to talk about borrowing supplies and getting supplies when you're desperately low. A few things I've done in the past that maybe wasn't the greatest. We'll see. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with borrowing supplies. That was my little big entrance. Now, first of all, let me start you off with a story. I was part of a diabetic camp, and I was given one needle. So I only did a shot once a day, but this needle got broken in the transport going from one site to the next. So I didn't have a needle for the next day. Instead of going to the medical team and saying, I don't have my needle or syringe, I think the top came off. I just went up to one of my friends there and said, here, after you do that, let me have your needle. And I just quickly did it. That I would not suggest. No, today that would freak me out completely. But I utilized it. I gave myself a shot. And things don't work out. I've done the story, and the story, I think, I mentioned this in yesterday's video, but where I walked to Fiji, where I didn't have control of my own insulin. I was so worried about keeping it refrigerated that I passed my insulin off to a crew member on a flight. And when we got to Fiji, it was a big thing. I had to walk the flight. That was bad planning on my part. But when I set off, I had everything. I had it in a box, labeled, and everything was going to be ready to go. When the airline shipped me insulin, they shipped me enough to cover how much longer I was going to be in Fiji. when we went to book my flight, I was going to run out of needles. I still had insulin, but I was going to run out of needles. And I took shots using, I don't know, it wasn't an insulin needle. It was something big, had a big needle on it, and I would utilize that every day. Now, didn't really work. It was kind of useless. I didn't. I kept having high symptoms. The point was, they were using U40 insulin. So for every 1 milliliter, it had 40 units of insulin, and I was using U100, so I was getting less insulin. So make sure you have more than enough supplies for your trip. I've been on business trips, I swear, all over the province of British Columbia and Western Canada. I have dots of accounts from different pharmacies I've had where I've had to go in and buy insulin. Insulin was never really the problem. Most people knew that if you were asking for for insulin, you could answer a few simple diabetes questions and get it. Now they're asking for prescriptions. But when I was living with my sister, we got all packed up because we were moving. She found a new apartment and we were going to move in there. I got everything ready. I packed up everything because we were just going to go across town. When we got there, we found out the place wasn't open, couldn't get keys. Ended up being a big mess. So I went with my sister's boyfriend and stayed at his place. And in the morning, I found out we didn't have any needles. Didn't think about going to a drugstore. I went to emergency and said, I need some syringes. I got asked 50,000 questions about why, if you're moving, why weren't you prepared? What type of diabetes do you have? And I guess I passed because when I left there, I had my insulin already and I had needles. So I gave myself a shot and we were fine. I think I was actually a little bit late, so later in the day I probably went low. But at that point, I was at the beginning point of, oh, I don't need doctors. They asked me who my doctor was, and I think I gave them the old doctor that I had the fight with. And I did go back to North Vancouver till 4 years later, when my mom came back from Fiji and I ended up living back with her. But just be prepared with your supplies. Nowadays, especially if you're on syringes, it's difficult to get supplies. Nowadays, if you're dealing with major brands of drugstore, you're able to get tubing. You may have to wait, and you may have to go a day of being on shots, but they can get you your correct insulin tubing. So a lot of them have it on hand. Now that there's more and more um, people utilizing insulin and insulin pumps instead of syringes. It's been so long since I've gone. I should give it a try. Well, next time I'm out and about, I should go to a drugstore and just ask for needles, just to see how easy it is to get it. I don't know really how easy it would be. Now that their pressure's been off, because for a while there, their biggest concern was people who were using IV drugs would want a needle to shoot up. But I think now, safe shooting galleries are around, and people can get clean needles there. They don't have to go into drugstores and ask. I'm not saying that is completely disappeared, but I think it's working out better. So, what have we learned from this? Make sure you do not use people's needles. If it's a fresh needle that's unopened, sure, but make sure it's using the same value. I believe now everyone's gone to U100 across North America, but check if you're traveling to other countries that they are getting the correct volume. Make sure that if you're on the pump, you know that you will change time when you land in the city you're going to. So if I was traveling from here to Toronto, I would get on the plane and keep my pump at Vancouver time until I landed in Toronto and got off the plane. Then I would change it. If you're traveling east and you're doing shots or with syringe and insulin, give yourself less long-acting insulin if you're flying east. If you're flying west, you want to give yourself more. And this really wasn't borrowing, but I think it really shows how when you run low on supplies, whether it be for traveling or anything, try not to borrow. Try to go to the source. Try major drugstore chains. A lot of times, if you deal with, let's say, a large grocery store chain, and you deal with their pharmacy, they can usually call to that same drugstore in another grocery store, and they will be able to call and get your prescription and give you what you need. But just like everything else with damn diabetes, you gotta be prepared. And with that, that's what we're gonna call the day. Have a great day, and we'll talk again soon. Bye now. My email address is Mike's Diabetes World at gmail.com. All one line. Drop me